Hey, lady.
Hello.
I have like no volume. Where did that go? Volume. Where are you? My computer decided to do this weird thing where like my volume control went away at me. And I don't want to go away. Don't tell me. Sorry guys, my computer's freaking out. There we go. Okay. Oh, anybody else have a crazy day? Feel like a crazy person. All right, so we've got some people hopping on. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, okay, good. So we are just gonna get started and hopefully everybody else will hop on here that wanted to hear about vendor events. I have been doing vendor events since the beginning of my business. I knew 3 people when I signed up to sell Norwex in Tennessee, and Sandra was one of those 3 people. So it was really, really important for me to break out of that warm market pretty quickly because my warm market consisted of our 2 mutual friends. So they weren't going to host a party for either of us. So I started looking for vendor events, and the first few that I did were like really small events because I had no idea what to expect, and I didn't have anybody training me on them because we didn't really have anybody above us at that point. And even now they don't do events. So I just kind of figured it out as I went. So they're really not as scary as it might seem. So if you're nervous, don't be nervous. They're actually a lot of fun. And the first few that I really did were at like chiropractor centers and little sip-in shops at these little boutiques. And they're a really great way to get started because the crowds are not overwhelming and everyone is walking around to each booth. So you get practice talking to people, you get into a routine of what you want to say and how to say it. So those are a really great place to get started, and those smaller fall craft vendor shows are great as well. And by all means, if you want to go and book a 3-day event at the fair or whatever right off the bat, by all means, more power to you. But that's just how I started with them. And so first we're going to really talk about how to find vendor events, because I think that's one of the most commonly asked questions is where do I find these events? And Facebook is a huge tool for that. So just go to your events area and click on events near me. And all of these festivals and craft fairs and church fairs and garage sales and all that, those are all going to pop up there, and you can scroll through, and it's like up to a 200-mile radius, I think, is what Facebook is. You might even be able to change the parameters on that. But you can click on those events, and usually it'll say looking for vendors. If it's a craft fair, sometimes they'll specify whether or not they're allowing direct sales, because some craft fairs do not take direct sales. So that's something to look into too. And usually the person who's running it, their contact info is listed, and you can either post in the discussion and say, hey, I'd like info on becoming a vendor, or you can message them directly and send them a quick little email and say, hey, I'm with Norwex, and I would love to be able to set up a booth at your event. I was wondering if you were taking direct sales and if you already have a Norwex consultant, because we do have a compliance rule with Norwex that only one consultant can be represented at an event at a time. And that's really good for all of us. And so I usually ask that if we don't have the vendors listed. And then usually you'll hear back and they'll send you a vendor application. You'll submit the application with the money. And so that's one way to find events. The other way is to just do a Google search. Just type in vendor events near me, and a ton of stuff is going to come up. And you kind of have to weed through some of it, but looking at if it's the first year they've done it, have they been doing this multiple years in a row? And those are all things that you can ask the person who runs it as well. And you can ask them, how are they advertising? Are they only advertising on Facebook? Are they doing a billboard advertisement? Are they advertising on the radio?
Hey, Sam, I'm having a really hard time hearing you.
Can everybody else hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. Your feed's cutting out when you talk to me, Ansley. Maybe she'll come back, hopefully. Okay. Can you hear me now, Ansley? Okay.
Hello.
I'm going to keep going. So asking them how they're advertising is a good way to gauge what kind of attendance the event is going to have. And even if it's a small event, you can still have a really great outcome from it, because just one person could be that person that books a party. So say it's a $25 event at a chiropractor center, and you book one party and you sell $50 to $100. To me, that's a great event, because you booked a party, you made your money back, and you sold a little bit. So that means you have contacts, you've got some sales in your pocket, made your money back, and that booking is really what's important. Because what can come from one booking can just explode like a tree's root system into multiple parties and recruits and things like that. So that's why I still do the little events too, because sometimes those are nicer because it's not go, go, go talking to people 24/7. And then to find events, reach out to other people you know in direct sales in your area and ask them if they're doing any events and what events they're doing. I have a really good friend who is another direct sales company here who lives near me, and we send each other event links like every other day. Are you doing this event yet? Have you gotten into this event? And it really has helped me to always know where events are. And then there's also groups online. Like for here in Tennessee, there's an East Tennessee Vendors and Crafters group. And people who are running events will post in there and say, hey, we need vendors for this event on this day here, and these are who we have, or this is who we're looking for. So Google or just search in Facebook vendors and see what kind of groups pop up for your area. So those are just some good ways to find events. And then looking at Expo Center, Community Hall, and Event Hall websites can also show you what events they're doing, and then you can reach out to them and see if you can be a part of that event if it's something that interests you. So let's talk about the cost of events. So event costs can range anywhere from free to my most expensive one is $1,300. That's a home show, which I took a risk on last year, and it went well. But start with what's in your budget, and don't feel like you have to spend $250 on an event if that's out of your budget. You can find ones that are more in your budget and start saving up. Set aside a little bit of your commission each month so you can do one of those bigger events. And like I said, it doesn't matter the size of the event. As long as you're getting contacts at that event, it's a successful event. Because that's the whole goal of doing vendor events, is to build your contact list. Like we just talked about with our booking blitz, how important it is to have that master list of contacts. So you're just adding these people to that list so that you can be following up with them. So I really base my costs on how well I think they're advertising the event. So like, for example, with the home show, that's on the extreme end. They do thousands of dollars of advertising, and it starts from the time the last show ends and continues throughout the year. With like the smaller ones, the chiropractor ones, it's like, how are you advertising? Usually they'll do a Facebook event, they'll do some paid Facebook ads, they have flyers up, and they're inviting their entire client base to those events. So to me, that's really great, because they have this clientele base, and they're inviting them to this event, and people are going to come, people are going to show up. Let's see here. If the event goes well, just a little note, ask if you can be on the list to have first dibs for next year, because that's a great way to keep events on your calendar over and over. And then let's talk about inventory. So having inventory is a great way to be able to sell cash and carry. People like that instant gratification. But don't feel like you have to spend a bunch of money to do your first event and get that inventory. I slowly built up my inventory over time by hosting my own parties, and I just kept all those hostess rewards as inventory. And then as I went along a little more, I was able to, order things specifically with the money I earned from the event. So I sold those things for cash, items that I got for free, and then I entered them as orders for items that I wanted to carry in my inventory. So I carry the powdered detergent. I've started carrying the liquid, the Chanel hand towels and the Pet to Dries, the Optic scarves, basic packages, and I've accumulated quite a few mops. So I've been taking those with me. But there's a specific reasoning behind having those specific products, and the basic package, that is like the bread and butter of Norwex, right? So we can give them that wow factor in about less than a minute with a butter demo and telling them about how amazing our microfiber is and how it removes 99% of bacteria. And that's what's going to get them to come in your booth and look around and want to buy, is they want that wow factor. You can give them that by doing a basic package demo. So you'll sell a lot of those, especially if you're showing it. And then you want to talk about how to take care of the cloths, because you don't want to sell them to people and have them go home and wash them and they're tied and have them be ruined. You want them to wash them with our detergent, because one, that's a consumable, so they can become a repeat customer with you. And two, it's what's best for the cloth, it's what's best for them, and it's what's best for the environment. So having those detergent jars, does everyone know what I'm talking about with the detergent jars? Yeah. Where it shows like the leading brand, the free and clear, and then our detergent. So I have those set out at my table, and when I tell them how to take care of the cloth, I'm showing them those jars. And that really, again, it's that wow factor. And that's especially at events, because there's so many other tables for people to look at. You really want to have those wow moments for them to linger at your table even longer, so that you can keep talking to them and telling them all of the amazing benefits of Norwex and how it's going to save them money and time, and sharing your stories, or being like, and I have a before, you should see the before and after of this bathtub that I just did with our descaler or whatever. And you just keep talking to them. And as their wish list is growing at the table, as you're demoing these products, they may be deciding to buy some of it, or they're like, oh, I just want so much stuff. And that's when you say, well, we are a party plan business, and you can earn all of this for free by having me over to your house, and I'll clean your ceiling fans, and I'll do a little gardening, and we'll clean your windows and show your friends how awesome these products are, and then you can get it all for free. And I usually have a hostess rewards sheet there so I can show it to them. I've even set out all of the month's hostess rewards like in a bundle before, and that's effective because people can visually see how much stuff they could get for free. And we use a little fake play money as the shopping spree. And then if they say that they're kind of interested, you show them your available dates and try to get them to commit to a date at the event, because it's very difficult to get people to commit after they've left, because that excitement has worn off. So get them to commit to a date there. You can offer them like a free gift, or say free tax, or get this class for free if you decided to book or whatever. And then always have hostess packets there as well, so that you can send them home with a packet with that month's specials, a catalog, and some information about Norwex, so they can start researching it and looking at it and staying excited for their party. So I tend to go for the sale first and then ease them into the booking, because I want them to purchase and book a party. Because I want to get sales at my event, and I want them taking something home with them so they can start using it, because then, in my opinion, they're more likely to actually hold the party and not reschedule or cancel, because they went home and they used it and they were like, oh my gosh, this actually works. And I need all the things. So that's kind of my game plan in it, and why I show those two products, especially the basic package and the detergent. And then we do the Optic scarf, because I clip one around like a little necklace or a lanyard, and as people are walking by, if they are kind of looking, but they don't seem like they're going to stop. I'm like, ooh, can I clean your glasses for you? And offer to clean their glasses or let them clean their glasses. And they'll put them back on with the after they clean them. They're like, oh my gosh, it's so clean. Like, I can actually see because the optic scarf is awesome and it works so much better than anything else. And then they're like, well, what is this stuff? And then you're like, well, can I show you a quick demo? And then I show them the butter demo, and then I talk about the detergent. And it's basically the same thing I'm saying to everybody all day. You just repeat that process. And then the Chanel hand towels and the Petri Dries are great to have as inventory because they appeal to everybody. They're soft, they're functional with the fact that they can't be yanked off of the bar handle, and the Petri Dries are adorable. So people who may not even be interested in the cleaning products will just buy those because they make great gifts or whatever. So that's just a nice, easy sell. And then what was the other one that detergent, basic packages. I usually have quite a few dust mitts because people ask, well, what do you have for dusting? And that's an easy, well, you can get these 3 together in a household package. And then, so carrying inventory versus ordering at the event as well. So if you don't have inventory, it is effective to allow them to order at the event and offer free shipping. What I do, especially if it's a local event, I just enter all the orders on one order, so I'm not out all of that shipping by direct shipping, and I will drop it off for them. If they aren't local, I'll direct ship that one order, but most of the events you're going to be doing are pretty close to your area. And some people might seem hesitant to order there or to like write down their card info, so getting a Square reader is a really great option for that.
I'm coming. I have to look
at the card right there, and then you can take Amex or Discover as well, which is nice for when people are out and about, because some people will just grab a credit card instead of their debit card or whatever. And be sure to have a cash bag as well, because a lot of people do pay in cash, so be able to break change. I think Sandra and I usually keep change for about $100 is what we usually keep change for. And then demoing is really like the most important part of being at the event, is actively showing off the products and standing in front of your table instead of sitting behind it and waiting for people to come up to you. You're going to have a much more successful event if you are standing in front of the table and actively engaging with people walking by. Even if only every 3rd person walks by, people notice that you are personable, that you're showing these products, and they're like, oh, what is she doing over there? Maybe you should go look at that. And that leads into having a nice display as well. Having something that's visually interesting for people that draws them in. So if you just have a booth that's just a 6-foot table, make sure you have height. So get some of those really cute crates. Hobby Lobby and TJ Maxx have like 50 million options for you. And stack those crates on either side and display the products really nice front and center so that people are seeing it and it's not all just laying flat on the table. That makes a huge difference, because personally, when I go to craft fairs, if they just have a single table with not very much set out on it and it's all laying flat, I generally walk past it, especially if they're sitting behind the booth. But when I'm walking past a booth and there's all this stuff to look at, I pause longer to look at everything that's there. And then usually the person, the vendor, is like, oh, well, what are you looking for today? Or have you heard of this company before? And they start talking to me, and I end up standing there and listening. And that's what you want. You want to draw people in so you can tell them about the products. So having a visually interesting display makes a huge difference. And then something that I'm totally like, this is a total pet peeve of mine, find a good tablecloth. Find a good floor length fitted tablecloth. The ones that I have, I got on Amazon for $10. So cheaper than the Walmart sheet that I was using previously. And it's fitted, so it fits around the whole table and it looks super professional. And that's really going to set you apart from other vendors at an event as well. Just having that air of professionalism. makes a huge difference. And tables, so some events will provide tables for you, so if that's something that you need to ask about beforehand. Usually they'll only provide one and a chair or two. Excuse me. But tables are actually really affordable these days. I love to shop at Aldi's. I don't know if anybody else is an Aldi shopper, but they get their foldable plastic ones in on and off throughout the season. And they come in 4 foot and 6 foot. And I know Costco, Sam's Club, and Walmart all carry them as well. And they range anywhere from $20 to $35. So I've got a couple of 4 foot ones and a couple of 6 foot ones, so that whether I have a 10 by 10 booth or just a 6 foot table space, I have a table or tables that are going to fit that space. So that's just something to think about. If you plan on doing a lot of events, it's very helpful to have some of your own tables and tablecloths. And I think that that's kind of everything I had to share. So what questions do you guys have? Anybody? Said somebody else have on. Nobody has questions? Nothing. Amanda, you have to have a question. No, I was just that good. Is that what you guys are saying? The training was the bomb. I went kind of fast because I was thinking you guys would have lots of questions. If you're on the phone, I think you're automatically muted, so you might need to unmute yourself. But, well, I guess if nobody...
Can you hear?
I can hear you now, whoever that was.
Oh my God, so did you hear me yelling at my son?
No, no.
Oh, that was funny. I wasn't muted then. I don't have a question, but I'm like, wait, I can't believe she can hear me.
I was totally freaked out when Amanda had her video up still and her son was walking across the deck through the window, and I thought it was a ghost. It made me jump. So, yeah. Well, yeah, so get out there and do something, you guys. I did an event in Chattanooga, which is about 2 hours from where I live, because I haven't been able to find any local ones, and Chattanooga is an area where Norwex really is not very well known. And I did an event on there this summer. I booked 2 parties, and from the first party that I booked, I had a lady sign up, and she is on our team now and doing really well. And then from the second party, it was these 2 older ladies, and their first party was a $1,500 party. Their second party was a $3,500 party. They had 35 people at this party. And from that, I am now doing, so that event was in June, and I had those 2 parties in July. And August, September, and October, I have done 4 to 6 parties in Chattanooga each of those months because of just those 2 parties. So, and on top of that, I've added 4 total team members from those 2 bookings at that one event. So it's just crazy what one single vendor event can do for your business. So they're so incredibly beneficial, and it's so important to really think about how you're going to do them and put the effort into having a good display and practice what you want to say to people, because people are going to be attracted to that professionalism, that expertise, and that's what's going to make them want to buy and book with you. So, and I have done events where nobody's even walked through the door. So I've had those too. Amanda's like, yep, been there. I've done quite a few of those actually. But it just happens sometimes. Then you sell to the other vendors. That's when, if nobody's walking through the door, you are talking to the other vendors and you're talking about how amazing your company is and how much you love your products and how you've earned all this stuff for free. And they're like, oh man, my company doesn't do that because Norwex is awesome. So you just have to make the best of every scenario when you're at events, and you can have a lot of kind of crazy stuff thrown your way, but they're a lot of fun. So, well, if nobody has any questions.
Actually, I do. It's just about product that you keep. do you do better with the rubbery dryer balls or the wool dryer balls? Because I know I only use the wool, but thinking about the stuff that I've got coming up, like, do I need to get like at least a set of the green ones, or?
I would. I think we definitely sell more of the wool because they're organic, and that appeals to most of the people who are already using dryer balls, or people who are already using dryer balls but aren't using ours, are using wool ones, and they're like, oh, I really need another set, and so they'll get the wool. So I do, like, I should show you my box. I have like 15 boxes of wool dryer balls right now and like 5 of the rubber ones. But I personally really like the rubber ones. So I keep those on hand just in case. And they're less expensive. So when I'm telling people that they can't use dryer sheets or fabric softener, I'm like, you use dryer balls, and they're like, oh, I'm spending this much. And I'm like, well, why don't you start with the rubber ones and see how you like them? And they're like, $8 cheaper. So give these a try. And then, if you really like them, you can add the wool ones, because I use a combination of both in my dryer. So it's kind of a good way to ease them into it if they're not ready to, drop $100 that day or whatever. Anybody else have product questions or anything? I'm more than happy to answer. I'm just blown away that nobody has questions. Alrighty. Well, if you do have questions, feel free to message or post on the team page. And I hope you guys found this helpful, and go out there and find yourself an event to do this fall, because this is prime craft vendor season. There's going to be like 1 million Christmas markets. So get out there and go do one. And thank you guys all for hopping on tonight. So have a great night, everybody. Bye.